Hello, we are here today to give you a bit more information about the nonviolent communication course that we are starting soon. It is called Connecting Across Difference, an Introduction to Nonviolent Communication. And yeah, Matthew, could you just start by telling us a little bit about why we're doing this? What's the idea of the course?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I mean, I think when I originally conceived of this course, um, we called it "Connecting Across Difference in a Time of COVID-19." That was too long to fit onto our event page, so but I still quite like that title because I think it talks to two things which I think make this particularly timely. So I think we found ourselves. And I don't think it's a strange position for humanity to be in, but I think it does feel particularly pronounced at the moment. Find ourselves in a time in which conversations feel incredibly polarized, in which there are a lot of very strong views in the world, and we see this kind of political fallout happening across a lot of countries, where the conversation just seems to become really difficult. It starts to become really difficult to connect across difference. Um, and there's a sense that having a kind of civilized discourse, having a kind of conversation where we can really hear each other becomes quite challenging. And that's particularly painful because there are a lot of big things at stake. There are a lot of things which really matter to people that we want to have conversations about, and yet we find it so difficult to do that. And then I think the pandemic is an interesting kind of curveball thrown into that picture, because I think we've also found ourselves where we're needing to adapt to having conversations over very different kinds of mediums to the ones that we've used in the past. And where we're robbed of so much information because we're not able to be bodily together.
Mhm.
Um, and I think these are some of the things that I'm really interested in starting to pick apart in this program, starting you know, to spend some time thinking about what makes that conversation so difficult. How can we make sense of that together? And how can we start to imagine some new strategies which might help us to find each other, and indeed, in a way, to find ourselves in the midst of all of that? And I think that nonviolent communication is one methodology that has some useful input into how we think about that challenge. Um, but I think other thing that I'm really excited about in the way that we've conceived of this program, although it's an online program, is that we're taking 6 longer sessions, giving ourselves the luxury of taking 3 hours over 6 weeks. And dividing that into two. So we'll have two 75-minute sessions with a half an hour break to kind of recuperate a little in between. And the first part of that is really focused on, let's say, kind of teaching and practice. So kind of exploring some themes, exploring some ideas, learning the kind of anatomy and basic building blocks of a methodology, and practicing putting that into use. And then the second part is, what I've called a reflective group, or maybe an experiential group. And I think that's really a place where we can, over 6 weeks, build quite a trusted kind of community where we're able to start to bring some of the challenges that we're really facing. So, what are the places in our lives where we're finding it difficult to connect across difference? And let's bring those to the table and explore those together. Without a kind of specific curriculum or learning agenda getting in the way, where we can just take our experience and our pain sometimes seriously together and learn from each other, and think about what some of these ideas that might seem quite good in the abstract might look like when we try and particularize them in the context of our lives. So I think that's a little bit different to certainly to the way that I've taught NVC introduction courses in the past. And I feel, particularly in this time when we're often robbed of those informal spaces just kind of catching up with each other and just kind of sharing some of the difficulties that we have in our lives. I'm hoping that this might provide, a really interesting space, and I'm really excited and curious, and looking forward to having some brave colleagues kind of join us on that journey to explore that together.
Sounds great. Is there anything else you want to share about it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel sort of nervous about sharing this because I want to encourage people to join. But I guess I feel like there is a lot at stake. I think there's a lot of pain that we're going through, many of us, and I want to really honor that and take that seriously. And I think that we are looking for a commitment. We're looking for people who not just kind of, you know, I find myself on a daily basis inundated with so many webinars and learning opportunities, and um, and that's wonderful in so many ways, and kind of quite overwhelming as well. Um, and I guess I'm hoping that we can find a small group of people who are willing to really take the risk of jumping in with both feet for a couple of weeks with us, so that we can really, um, really get to know each other and really explore what's going on in our lives in a little bit more depth. And I think that everybody will benefit out of that kind of full engagement. So, if you feel ready for something like that, something of a deep dive, and ready to commit to a group of peers, digging into some of these quite challenging topics, then I think this might be a good space for you.
Thanks a lot, Matthew. That's really, really helpful to get some more sort of idea about how it's going to be run. If you'd like any more information, you can find the dates and a lot of what we've just been talking about on our Eventbrite page. And there's also other offerings on our website, some related to NVC and some not. We've got an intermediate course starting as well. So yeah, just let us know if you've got any questions or anything you want to talk about. Thank you.